Alright, Sunday morning guys, just coming up to about 6:45 a.m. Getting geared up for a road trip today. Just waiting on Elin, my road trip counterpart. Just checking out the TR250 this morning, still looking good. And its epoxy sealer. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the road trip when he gets here. I made a little spot for a Spitfire, which I'm sure he'll be driving today. So we'll be taking the truck to London, Ontario. Everything I seem to look at seems to be around the London area, or at least west by a few hours. So we've got a couple hour drive there, and obviously a couple hour drive back. So probably close to 5 hours on the road today, just to go see a little project that we potentially might pick up. But we'll see once we get there. We'll talk a bit more about it when we get in the truck. I think I can hear a Spitfire coming. Wait for it. Yeah. Waking up the neighbors. All right, we'll pick it up in the truck. When you're on.
I don't know. I think I'm on. Yeah.
Is it red?
Yeah.
Okay, so just coming up to 8:45, and we're 55 kilometers away from our destination, which is London, Ontario. And so with Elin here this morning, we are off to see another project, a very, very rusty beauty, I believe. This one's not a Triumph, so you might be shocked. And both Elin and I know absolutely nothing about these cars, other than the fact I know Elin doesn't like them.
I would like it as a project, not to drive it.
Maybe as a project he'd like it, but as Elin says, he doesn't know whether this car is coming or going. So if you watch my our live broadcast, what was that, a week ago?
Yeah, 19th.
Anyway, I'd mentioned on the live broadcast that one of the cars I was really interested in restoring would be a 914 Porsche. So as odds would have it, I've been kind of trolling the internet a little bit and looking at the local Kijiji, which is like a Craigslist, and a 73 914 has popped up in pretty bad condition. And as they say, you should probably not buy a very rusty car, but we're good at buying rusty cars and restoring them. So we're going to go and have a look at this. It's a 73. It's a 1.7 liter. It's not the best option from an engine perspective. I was hoping for a 2 liter, but that doesn't rule out an engine swap somewhere down along the line. But anyway, we're getting way ahead of ourselves because, like I said, this project is looking, from the photos that we've got, I think there's 5 photos on the ad, it's looking pretty rusty and pretty faded as far as paint is concerned. Although apparently it has all the parts there, and that's a good starting point to actually have all the parts at least. It is completely intact. The tires are all flat, for example, but we'll inspect it today. We're not pulling a trailer, so we're not guaranteed to buy this car by any means. So we'll have a look at it. We've got a jack with us, so we can get a quick look underneath the car. We've got a compressor to see if we can get the tires blown up, to see if it will actually move at some point if we need to move it. And other than that, we're just going to take a general quick overview and see how bad the rust is. So I've been doing a little bit of research over the last few weeks on these cars, watching some videos and just reading some articles, and I've joined the 914 forum and asked a few questions there. And I kind of know of the areas that you're supposed to look at on these cars. One called the hell hole, which is the major area which rusts just below the battery box. I was just talking to Elin about, and they can have some serious rust issues in that area in the longs, which are like the inner sills for these cars, so the structural members of these cars. I've checked on parts availability, and it looks like the parts are pretty good from a sheet metal perspective and from a mechanical perspective. Obviously, they share some of the engine components with the Volkswagen buses, for example. It is a fuel-injected car, so similar to what my 81 TR8 is. It's a Bosch fuel injection system. So anyway, we're going to have a look at it. Like I said, no guarantees that we'll be dragging this thing home, and I really mean dragging it. But we'll have a look, and it'll be a bit of an education regardless of whether, you know, going forward we know what to look for or what not to look for with these cars. So we're going to learn a little bit today. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to take any videos, but we'll try to take at least some still photos so you can see it. And hopefully maybe next week at this time we'll be returning with a trailer in tow to pick it up. That's the plan anyway, so we'll see you when we get there. Beauty.
Scary.
All right, here it is in all its wonder. She's pretty rough, and I've got quite a few concerns.
Did you want to lay across the cart for these guys?
Worried about floors here. This one is fixed.
I'm just
the only
curious.
part is here. Like,
I honestly haven't got down and even yet. That's all great. Calling from what else? They painted the whole thing.
even inside, the engine bay, the trunk.
Yep. Did you throw your ball over? Out of 100 will do. Watch them do it to a Jeep one time.
Solid attached to the trailing arm. I don't know.
Because you wanted to? You guys me on a bit, okay? It's super important.
You're okay to leave there for if you want. We're just taking it all in anyway. I was wondering if they were going to make comfortable there. Yeah.
I was curious too.
Yeah.
Just see how long it would do.
See if you can
Probably
get it
at
on
about
the trailer.
8:30 this
Yeah,
morning.
still holding there.
So yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
What are you thinking?
Pretty rough. Pretty rough. It may be on the capabilities of me to restore that car. I'm concerned primarily, first of all, I don't believe that's the original engine. So it's carbureted, it should be fuel injected. I can't find any tags on it. It could be a 2-liter, I don't know. So maybe I'll have to get some experts to have a look at the video that I took of it. I took some still photos as well. Number one. Number two, we knew it had some serious rust in the passenger side floor pan. We could see that. It's really quite bad. The major concern is I can't get in the frunk or the trunk to look at the pans because both of the panels are locked or we can't get in them. It's had a shunt in the rear, so that would need to be fixed. The rear fender's curled under, that would need to be fixed. But not being able to see the pans in the trunk and the frunk are a bit of a concern. And the most concerning thing to me is the fact that when you open the doors, the car actually is sunk. So obviously there's some frame issues or the lungs are in bad shape, because when you open the doors and try to shut them again, it's kind of like a Triumph and the car sort of bends a little bit. It's hard to shut the doors again. So there's some integrity issues, I think, with the body. So I don't know. It's a tough call.
I think it wasn't that sank.
It was hard to get the doors open and closed again. I mean, even if you slam the doors, you couldn't really even close them. So, I mean, the car needs everything, and we knew that based on the price that the guy's asking for it. But obviously he wants to see that restored and back on the road, and that was his intent. But I think most people that look at that car will probably look at it as a parts car, because it's pretty rough. And again, I'm not. I'm always one for a good project, and it is. I am looking for a project, but is it too much of a project? So I don't know. Lots of questions.
You have to be pretty determined and stay on it, but I think it's fixable.
Yeah, I mean, you think everything is fixable though, and generally I agree with you. And again, if it was a Triumph and I was more familiar with the actual car and the parts availability and what actually needed to be done and what was affecting what in the car, and we didn't jack the car up. We sort of laid under it and had a quick look, and certain parts of it looked not bad, like the exhaust, for example, actually looked pretty good. From what I could see at the rear of the car, it actually didn't look too bad underneath.
Yeah.
Then you move to the front or the side, the passenger side of the car, and it's pretty rough. And even the center of the car, where I think a lot of I've done very little research on these cars, so I know there's a lot of tubing that runs through the center rail of the chassis. I think that might be completely non-existent. But again, without actually having it on a rack and jacking it up properly and having a look, it's really hard to say what it looks like underneath. But again, it's a project and it's priced extremely low, and that's what you expect. I didn't expect to see a concours car there. I just wanted to find a project that I could work on in the future and have fun with.
If you ask me, I would pick it up, inspect it better, and then decide. You might just resale it or restore it. But
yeah, the worst case scenario, you could buy the car and then end up parting it out. I know that the parts for these cars are getting harder to get. The cars are, from my understanding, these 914s are actually appreciating. They're being kind of accepted more by the Porsche crowd, as I think they were kind of like the TR7 and the Triumph crowd. They were kind of, not really associated with the brand or with the mark. And I think the 914 was sort of like that, but I think it's got rid of that stigma and it's actually becoming more desirable, and thus the prices are going up with these. So who knows? It could be what it could be worth in the future. But again, I have lots of questions that I need to go through in my mind, and maybe post a video and get some of the expert opinions on what they see. I mean, everybody sees that car. I was going to say run away, I'm sure. But they obviously haven't seen what we've worked on, both you and I, what we've worked on and haven't run away from. I am curious as to what the comments will be on the engine. That doesn't seem to be original for that car. I'm not sure if there are some Volkswagen or Porsche experts out there that can tell me what the engine is just by looking at it. I tried to look for a serial number on it, but I couldn't find anything. So I took a few pictures and a bit of video, and maybe somebody can identify it just from the actual look of it. So we'll see what the actual engine. I have a feeling it's probably out of a bus, but I'm pretty sure that car should have been fuel injected from my research, and obviously that's got dual carbs on it, which is not necessarily a bad thing in my mind. I don't mind the dual carb option, but it technically should have been fuel injected from the factory.
Somebody might have converted it.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in my opening video, I'm not necessarily averse to converting it anyway from a 1.7 to something else. So maybe that decision's been done for me already, and I've got something to work with. Now, obviously, the engine didn't run. We don't know whether the engine is stuck. Again, going back to, there's a lot of variables we have no idea with. I mean, the trunk and the front can be completely rusted out and non-existent under those panels. No idea. Do you take the chance?
I took a little bit of video of the trunk underneath, and it looks like it's undercoated, and it's been actually oil sprayed.
Oh yeah.
Unless that's all the transmission hole there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty good underneath. My only concern is the suspension on the right side. Yeah. That maybe those pickup points are all rotten. Yeah. But it might be also something bent, because the guy said that the tow truck driver hooked it up somewhere there and he bent, and actually you can see the valance there is also bent from the rope where it was pulled up. So maybe something got bent on the suspension. I don't know. But
anyway, much more research. I wasn't at a point where I could just say, like normally, if I was more familiar with the car, like if it was a Triumph, I'd probably just have said, okay, I'll take it, because I know it can be what needs to be done and what can be fixed and what can't. Seeing as I don't know much about these cars, I need to do some more research and actually look at something like the rear suspension in more detail and see what could possibly be wrong with it before I decide whether it can be fixable or not. And again, like I said, just general rustiness. I mean, the exterior panels on the car look pretty good. In my mind, not bad. I was concerned about the top of the roof. Had some, from the photos that I saw, it looked like there was a kind of a gaping hole in the top of the roof, but it's actually just the paint peeling off. Apparently, on the plus side, the guy said it was originally a white car. And you guys know that I like white, so that's a big selling point for me if it was originally a white car, because I was actually going to paint the car white anyway if I got it. I already had that in my mind. So if it was actually a white car from the factory, that would be cool. Again, one of the couldn't really see too much the information on the VIN of the car. We got the VIN from the windscreen, but the sticker was gone on the door sill, and the other plate in the door jamb I took a photo of, but it's painted over, so it's very hard to read. That would have been the original color code, I believe, on that panel. So maybe I'll see if I can blow that up on on the computer at home and see if I can see the actual details of what that plate says. All right.
All right, guys.
Got to get back on the highway.
Tell him this car is worth. I would buy it. Who's voting for it?
We're gonna have an arm wrestle when we get home.
Okay.
Whoever wins the arm wrestle.
Okay, we're losing.
I can't believe the guy that doesn't like these cars is encouraging me to buy this car.
Actually, now that I've seen it in person, I actually like it.
Okay. Well, I still like it, but again, whether it's a wise decision or not, that's yet to be seen.
Okay, we'll see.
The wise person would probably say, run away. But
if we were wise, we wouldn't have all these projects right now, and
correct.
we wouldn't be in the garage all the time. So
yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
At the roundabout, turn left.
There we go. See if I can catch up to him. I have to use all my 302 horsepower in the truck to catch this guy. And once I catch him, I don't want to rear end him.
I'm gonna give some viewers.
Well, you don't often see too many TR3s out on the road, so especially in my neck of the woods, we're not that far away from home, and it's not a car I'm familiar with. So yeah, cool to see him on the road. You got the tonneau cover on there. Yeah, looks good. Got wire wheels, spinners on it. Wind wings. Yeah, beautiful day to be out in a TR3A.